Hush 2, which could be maybe the worst logo in comic book history with confusing numbering. And as you guys can see, we had to bring out the white marker. Well, that's because there's a lot to unpack with this alone. We're going to get into Jim Lee, we're going to get into Jeph Loeb, and we're even going to heavily discuss Scott Williams, and we're going to bring up a major issue with this. So let's go. And before we can get any further, guys, Jim Lee Hush. Hush 2. Hush Part 2. The continuation of Hush. Guys, we've all been waiting for this comic book. A little bit of a correction. So, the video you're about to see, one of my contentions is that Jim Lee isn't using full-size pages to draw his artwork. Now, some of this is the detail, the level of inking that we can compare this to the previous Scott Williams level of inking to the original Hush. We will make that comparison. But I say in this upcoming video, and guys, we're all about corrections. We're all about just being as truthful and honest and, you know, critical as possible. I said I haven't seen Jim Lee post a full page on his Instagram. And yet, like, you think he would. Like, you think he would post a process to really hype this up. He posts what seems to be a couple scanned images. It's hard to tell, you know, when it's fully flat. We really have to see the page up against something. So some of those are here. But we also have Jim Lee's like on vacation. And he's using the window to basically lightbox, you know, one of his proportions or one of the characters jumping. That looks like a full-size page. Now, that doesn't mean every single page is full size. We have to be clear on that. He also, like the one panel of, you know, Batman, this panel right here, of him repairing his suit, he posted the pencils of that. In my view, it looks a lot smaller than what it should be. And we can tell by the line work and by the detail. But guys, let me know what you think. I've included the posts here. But, you know, Jim Lee's Instagram is available down below. That's what she said. But guys, let's go. We got to do a correction sometimes. Well, the internet is talking about this. If you haven't seen the thumbnail, read the headline for this video, here we go. It's Jim Lee. He's coming back to American Monthly Comics with Hush. Hush 2. Hush. More Hush. Hush. Husher. What's a better name than Hush 2? I can think of how about Hush, the Husher, the Hushering, the Hushering, Hush, Hushering, Hush, the Hush. The numbering for this, and guys, this is one cheap feeling comic. It is so effing thin. The numbering, I'm confused already. DC All In, 158, I think. And then it's Legacy 923. Why not just make this, put it back to the Legacy numbering? Like, what's the difference between, like, what? It's 158. People are like, well, I have 158 issues to catch up on. Let me pick it up. Or it's 923. Oh, I mean, guys, the psychology of this numbering makes no sense. So this is a cheap feeling comic that leans into the return of Jim Lee, the monthly books. We have to hit the drawing table because this is not just a saga of Jim Lee. This is also about Jeph Loeb. I feel all of comic book YouTube failed me on this. We have to build the perspective of what this really is, what it means coming to comic shops, right? Or arriving at comic shops. Is this, here's the big question before we hit the drawing table. This is the big question. Is this Jim Lee's final monthly book? Because I think it is. I don't see a lot in here. This is not a good read. It's not anything. The artwork is, okay? And it's hard to say that about Jim Lee, I know. But guys, let's build the picture. Let's build the perspective as we do on this channel. Guys, Jim Lee Hush 2, written by the guy that brought you Teen Wolf and Commando. You guys remember Jeph Loeb? And guys, we have to talk about Jeph Loeb just a little bit. And we're going to start everything with Jeph Loeb, because Jeph Loeb's part of the Jim Lee Hush equation is absolutely significant. Jeph Loeb might be the most like media driven, successful comic book guy success that we have. The things he's done in movies, in TV, for Marvel and DC, and the stuff he's written and done for the comics for Marvel and DC, it's of absolute note. But he hit or misses. And we're going to start the Jeph Loeb saga with a major gripe of mine. So guys, get ready for a real analysis of this issue, because we're going to go into crevices. We're going to get into areas that I haven't seen any YouTuber do. So let's go. We have one hell of a stack AKAPAD. Let's raise that up a little. Hush. I know I said we were going to start with Jeph Loeb. I lied. Let's start with Jim Lee. We got to start with Jim Lee. Why was Hush... We're going back. Why was Hush impactful when it finally came? Because at the time we had Jim Lee. Jim Lee's monthly history is exactly this. And we can say every single one of them was disappointing. Now, we have Jim Lee drawing Punisher War Journal here, where he's doing the finished art over Carl Potts, script and layouts. Jim Lee cut his teeth from Carl Potts. But, you know, we get a good run at this. We get some Wolverine issues. We get some things. And then he goes into X-Men and creates, right, like the 8 million sold, maybe. We question that on this channel. X-Men #1. So, high-selling comic book of all time. The reason why we question the sales is, well, we have, like, different SKUs. And this edition, this deluxe edition, has material. Like, this is a different publication than the connecting covers. Like, the connecting covers basically all share, like, you know, like everything interswaps different, some of these different pages, and that conversation point is these, which were later printed into posters, right? So it's, we have different content per X-Men #1. So there are different SKUs. So whatever. So from there, Jim Lee publishes his own company. He gets into, let me see, do we have it here? We have Homage Studios, but he founds here we go, Wildstorm Productions, and he draws Wildcats. But yeah, like, he roughly gets maybe like a year and 5 months, a year and 6 months out of Wildcats. So you get maybe like 2-3, it's like 2 to 3 years X-Men-ish, but most likely 2 years. You get like a year of the Punisher. You get roughly a year of Wildcats. Right? And then we get Divine Right. This was him roaring back. Big return. And yeah, Jim Lee's doing Jim Lee work. The stuff looks great. But no one really cares about Divine Right. And then we get Hush. And we get Jim Lee's Hush. Now, I don't have the comics. I only have the pencil version of Hush. And I have the ink version that we tagged up for this video. And why are these tagged? Well, you guys are going to have to wait. Jim Lee coming back, drawing 12 monthly issues of Hush, basically proved something. And we have to get our camera a little bit. Are we just like slowly sinking here? We have to talk about the impact of this, because Jim Lee had created so much ill will. People didn't like Divine Right. And I get it. You know, like Divine, I think it's wonderfully drawn. I think it's a fun read. But it's not what people wanted. People wanted Jim Lee to be on Wildcats way longer than what he was. People wanted Jim Lee to be on X-Men for way longer than what he was. But he ends up at DC because he needs some cash. He's got to pay off that Gen 13 cartoon. But all of Hush was set up with this. Batman Black and White. Jim Lee, Scott Williams, from one cover. See, this cover fired enough imaginations, and we want to say that the Batman book, see, it took a long time, even after all the movies, for the Batman to become this unstoppable sales juggernaut for DC, meaning all of the monthly books basically like run off of Batman. Hush was one of those storylines that helped create that era that we're still in. DC Comics essentially is a Batman publishing house. But this single cover, and Jim Lee doesn't have any of the interiors in here, but this cover inspired enough people because there was a little bit of a talent and creative vacuum for Batman. So Hush comes in and does, like what Jeph Loeb does very well with guys like Jim Lee and even Rob Liefeld, which is he collaborates, talks with them, and Jeph Loeb's like, hey, like, what do you guys want to draw? Like, what do we want to do? And he sculpts a story around it. So let's talk about who Jeph Loeb is real quick. I'm going to put these to the side. We mostly need these two coming up. Who the hell is Jeph Loeb? Well, we've done this on this channel. Uncanny X-Men, Annual 18. We have this collaboration here of Loeb and Tim Sale. This is one hell of a Bishop story. Can I find it? It's right here. Where these are the moments right before we see Bishop in our time. This is him and AKAPAD. You might say to yourself, there's no background in here. Yeah, and it effing works, and there's a reason for it. These are the moments right before Bishop gets into our time. And this is one hell of a story by Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale. So a lot of you were introduced by Loeb and Sale through their collaborations of Hulk Gray, Spider-Man Blue, Daredevil Yellow. And as also previously on this channel, we did Captain America White, the last of these collaborations. These books, in my view, are far more impactful and important to American comic book publishing, Marvel comic book publishing. The idea of reformatting a miniseries into a graphic novel or into a graphic experience, these two guys changed that game. And I feel like a lot of what they've done for this, a lot of people are chasing. But that's not where we want to start with Jeph Loeb. We kind of want to start with Jeph Loeb with his Rob Liefeld stuff, right? I mean, they shine this one. Jeph Loeb and Rob Liefeld coming back to Heroes Reborn is so-and-so. It's just okay. It's serviceable. Do we want to say we're more interested in the coloring than we are with Rob Liefeld's storytelling, fight choreography, and layouts? Potentially, but it's a fun return. It's something that people thought they would never get. So all of this stems from Jeph Loeb collaborating with Rob Liefeld to do what I feel is a great premise for a Volume 2 Captain America. They also create like a female Bucky Barnes together. But, like this arrangement goes south and, we get awesome comics. So Jeph Loeb here with Rob Liefeld yet again, we see him. He's essentially publisher of awesome entertainment. So we get things like he's involved with Kaboom. And a lot of you love Kaboom out there, and Kaboom's fantastic. And like Dogs of War. This is Dogs of War, which is written by Jim Starlin here. This is the Winter Soldier before Winter Soldier, guys. And it's drawn by Stephen Platt. This is worth all of your time, all of your attention. But he does some very interesting it's almost like he's weaponized. But awesome, he does a lot of cool, interesting things. The two of them, Loeb and Liefeld. This is what I consider to be Rob Liefeld's best work, and it's not even inked, and it just screams like comics. And there's a little bit of this overlap in the awesome comic book era where the books feel, for lack of a better term, very European. So this is the Jeph Loeb. A lot of you, we even have this like nice trade paperback. Like a lot of you would think Jeph Loeb's fantastic, right? Like, guys, these are his highlights. But let's talk about what he took away from us. And it all starts here. The Ultimates 3. Jeph Loeb, Joe Mad, Chris Lichtenstein. So we have another no ink. Let's just have the pencils, digital coloring. And guys, I mean, this is one of the most beautiful looking books you will ever see. But all systems are go. Woodrow Wilson poking out of your pants. But we get this collaboration where Jeph Loeb has a conversation with Joe Madura. What do you want to draw, Joe? And we'll write a story. And Joe's like, well, I want to draw like all the villains, and I want to draw Wolverine, and I want to draw Spider-Man, and I just want to like, draw Iron Man here fighting the Blob. I want to draw Sabretooth fighting Captain America, right? And then we get Jeph Loeb completely breaking and shattering the Ultimate Universe. And the Ultimate Universe never quite recovered from this. Now, to lead from Ultimates, we get Ultimatum. And let's have a quick look at Ultimatum. But first, so let's just put this back. Guys, it didn't take long. Whew! Okay. So, Jeph Loeb and David Finch collaborate for Ultimatum. This storyline spins out of Ultimates 3. For what I like about Ultimatum, it doesn't remove my frustration with Jeph Loeb basically was the architect that unraveled the Ultimate Marvel Universe. And the Ultimate Universe was the template for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I feel like it's like we changed too much. We have this like assassination of the Scarlet Witch, and Magneto is distraught, and Magneto's like so like distraught over the death of the Scarlet Witch. He changes the polarities of Earth. Like he basically like rotates the Earth because he can control magnets, and the Earth is a big magnet, and he like floods everything, and all hell breaks loose. We have a true breaking of form here, where we have irreparable damage to the characters that the story never corrects. So these are permanent changes. I very much respect this book for making changes, and future Ultimate books stick to the guns. They ruined the Ultimate brand so much they effectively tried to resurrect it twice, and they couldn't do it, including right now on comic shelves. Say we have like the Blob eating the Wasp here. But I do respect this because they make a big bet. And I like seeing that in comics. But Jeph Loeb effectively destroyed the Ultimate Universe. And if you were reading Ultimate X-Men, The Ultimates, and Ultimate Spider-Man at this time, you got very angry with these books. And that's exactly what I was doing. That's why I'm angry. So, getting into what started with Batman Black and White cover by Jim Lee, it flowed right into Hush. The reason why this black and white one is important, and we can see it's a little bit bigger, right, than the average comic. It's like a quarter more. But, like this is down, I think, twice. Right, it's done 3/4 from a original comic page. This is done by maybe 1/2 of a original comic page, because original comic pages are much bigger. But this is a great way. I do enjoy the larger format, but if you really want to see the artistry of what Jim Lee and Scott Williams did with Hush, this is your edition. Now, we have a couple Hush tropes. What are the Hush tropes? Well, we'll start here. And I'll grab a piece of paper. Guys, I've been like really good with keeping paper next to the drawing table. So with Hush, we have what I call the full bleed grid. And no one's classified this. So you guys are here for it first. So here's, like, you have your comic book page, right? And then here you have like your printable area, right? And then like outside of that, like we'll just kind of do this, right? So like full bleed might be like here, printable area might be here, and then this here is just the physical size of the comic book page. What Hush does, see, it creates a grid, right? Like that. And then if we go to full bleed, the Hush grid is kind of the gutters don't wrap around the page. So we call that like the Hush grid. It's a full bleed grid. So we get that in Hush too. We do get that in here, but you guys can see the effectiveness of it. Say we tilt that, right? Like you see the effectiveness of the Hush grid. Because what it does, it pulls the reader in. And it pulls the reader in when we have detailed and we're drawing like every corner of the panel. It like here, like panels like this, right? Like go full bleed. The Hush trope number 2 is wonderful splash pages. Letting Jim Lee do what Jim Lee does. So throughout Hush, we have some incredible splash pages. Which, you know, when I have to flip through it and land on one, I effectively don't. But see, like right here in the Opera House, we get this visual impact. And it's basically saying, like, Jim Lee's back, and we gave Jim Lee, like, 3 years to draw 12 issues, but we released it when we had all 12 issues, right? Like here. So getting into Hush 2, like, do we have a, I need my, here we go, guys, because we're going to, so this is shit. This logo, I guess the logo is supposed to do this, whatever. I think this is like a little too high. This is confusing. This is confusing. Just call it like, you know, 923. Just do 923. I don't know. I'm not crazy for the cover too, guys. I get like the original Hush might have been what, 608, 609. It was like kind of like a blue tone, and they're trying to do like a sunset or a sunrise here. So one's blue, one's yellow, whatever. So guys, we open, right? We open with some Hush grid, some gridness. I mean, and here's everything that happens. So the Joker has these piranhas. They're Joker piranhas. They're trying to dump them, and he gets, you know, the Dark Knight gets attacked by the Joker, and basically the idea is that this shorts out his suit. So he's in the water, and he goes to electrocute the Joker piranhas. He electrocutes himself, and then the Joker's like taken away by this big guy that is, guys, the detail here. I mean, this is where I noticed it, because I went back that quick. But I mean, the detail here for this guy. Like, guys, look at the face. Are you seeing detail? Are you seeing? I'm seeing a lot of Alex Sinclair coloring. But see, even like the boot. So that's what we have here. So we're going to compare some of the details, because these are not full-size pages. These could be 1-to-1. In my view, like, this is the print size of these pages. But Joker gets drugged off. We have Barbara Gordon and Dick Grayson. Their comms went dead. They're like, hey, are the big guy, meaning him, the Dark Knight, he's il comunicado. And then Batman, like, basically dies and gets brought back to life by Natalia, Ra's al Ghul's, or Talia, I'm sorry, Ra's al Ghul's honey, you know, and she's got the booty and the boobies right here, and, you know, she gets taken off. But even this, like, see, like the hand, should be like a little bit bigger. Like the foreshortening is way off for her. Here, like just not enough detail. It's almost like you can kind of like, you know, like you can see where he places his blacks, but he's not like, look at everything around those white lines and tell me there's Jim Lee detail, because we're going to compare it to that. And then we see that like Hush has Joker, and he puts like he throws scalpels in them, and he's like, I'm missing your arteries and you're bleeding out, and it'll take you maybe like a week to bleed out or something. And then he puts like this like mouthpiece inside the Joker. It's kind of like a ball gag, like S&M type stuff. And then we go back to this poorly drawn Batman here, and he's fixing up his suit, and then, you know, his comm goes back on, and then we have this other like Hush close-up that really looks like it was drawn in 5 minutes. And you know, the Dark Knight gets a little bit of a lead. The Joker leaves behind the shoe. He somehow, the evidence on the shoe leads him to a circus because it has oil or something on it, and then he goes there and he sees like a Jim Gordon, I don't know, scarecrow. This is almost like out of the movie Big. And then he encounters the Joker, maybe-ish. But it's not really the Joker, because we see, like, we think it's the Joker. But they're just, like, Joker, like, hands. Like, you know, like, this is, like, someone made it. Like, they're mechanical or something. I don't know. But then he comes across the Joker, missing his shoe, tied up, you know, maybe broken jaw. And then, you know, we get this like recording running, and then he takes the Joker scalpel and he goes, it's Hush. Hush has returned. Hush returned. So I thought like the whole point of Hush was that he revealed himself in Hush, but then like he's still like covered. So whatever. It's a quick read. It's definitely not worth. I covered up the price tag, but it's not worth the $4.99. Like, nope. We're going to nope that. It's not worth the $4.99. Not worth $5. Not worth $5. So let's just kind of spitball this, because I'm not sure exactly. It's hard to educate on this because you have to develop a good eye. So some people have a good eye and some people don't. So let's just get into, like, here. If we have this, let's get into one of my markers, like right here. So I got this marked off for 2. See how we have the close up of the boots, and look at all this, like the leather and the, I don't know, like the reflection. So we have that. So here we also have that. So let's get into when the Joker gets dragged away, which is right here. See this? Oh, here we go. Like, doesn't it's so much more loose. It's less defined. The line work is smaller, right? Because here it's closer together because we're drawing bigger. But then we also have a similar sequence here when he's repairing himself. See? So, you know, like we kind of get these like close-ups of him, you know, like he's melting the lock and he's, I don't know, tying his shoe, and then, you know, like for foot fetish people. But like we get something similar here. And the detail just doesn't quite sing. You might be like, well, one's black and white and one's not. AKAPAD, trust me, it should be good in black and white. I mean, it should be good in color. Like, if it's good in color, it's way better in black and white. That's the Jim Lee standard, okay? So, like, we have stuff like that. So, we can turn to, let's just get to, like, the next one. Why did I have this here? I don't know why I had this one marked. Oh, like this, the shot too. Like the Jim Lee, this is like the definitive Jim Lee Batman pose. And here, like when we compare the two, the bigger one has less detail than the smaller one. I mean, like, look at the detail. You see it? See how like the line work is just separated, and he's doing more contouring. He's doing contouring because he's drawing small. But when you draw bigger, like look at the attitude of the arm alone. We see like more lines, and you know, like more depth, more texture. Scott Williams is able to like ink it. It's hard to ink when you're small. It really is. And then I thought this would be good for like if you wanted to compare like the profiles. Let's get the profile here. I know there's one of them. See, like here. See, like the profiles. I mean, it's a world of difference. It's a world, and you can say to yourself, it's black and white, it's different. No, the inking, AKAPAD, the effing inking here with tools like this, it's different when you're bigger and you can smell it. So I don't know, AKAPAD. Like I had other examples. Like I know. I thought this was going to be like the whole video, but this here too. See how we see like the barrel and the body of Batman. Like we get the waist up shot. Look at the waist up shot here. When he's again making those repairs. Right here. Right here. Guys. Tell me these are the same size. So Jim Lee's hacking this. It's really not a return of Jim Lee. This is why I went through his social media, AKAPADers. There's a reason why we haven't seen the original pages of Hush 2. There really is. I mean, just the detail on his abs alone. And see how he's doing the double lighting? Like he's drawing in an opportunity for the colors in this area. And you can't do that when you draw small. You just hope, like you kind of hope you get by. So I don't know, AKAPADers. That's Hush 2, AKAPAD style. We all got ripped off.